Intermission is over.
Right. We had a technical, the camera paused, so let's resume. Right, so we talked about something falling apart and then adapting to redirecting yourself and your energy or your technique, or how would you describe that in your experience with martial arts training here at Smith County Krav Maga?
Well, actually, when we're here, you know, we're not. It's not a fighting situation, and so I can't say that I've adapted to. You know, I can use that same analogy. I can use this analogy though. When you're actually on stage, everything is completely different from no matter how much you've practiced at home, or how many times you've rehearsed with your band, or no matter how prepared you think you are. Once you're actually on stage, there's a million things that can go wrong, and it's never something you can prepare for.
Nope.
And that's normal. When I haven't used anything here, because I haven't gotten into any fights. I've basically not been an asshole. Well, not in that way anyway. And
Dang, we let one slip.
Oh,
that's not a
okay.
curse. It's a bodily
It's
part.
anatomy, okay.
That's right. So,
Love it.
right. I assume though that no matter how prepared I think I am from what I'm learning here, if I get into a fight with somebody who is basically a street brawler or a drunk, which is the most likely thing, I think I'll probably do pretty well. If I get into a fight with somebody who actually knows what they're doing, it's not going to be like, you know, practicing here. So the best thing to do is to just keep practicing the moves, internalize them, keep it going, because I'm not going to have time to think. I don't have time to think when I'm on stage.
No.
I'm not going to have time to think when I'm in that situation, and it's going to go really fast. You know, if past experience is any guide, you know, when you're in a fighting situation, things go really quick. And they don't last long.
No.
So, you know, like you kept saying, you'll fall back on your training. So I assume that that's what I'll do. That's when I'll find out how I can improvise.
Yeah, you have to.
That's
That's why we don't do like, okay, so if a knife slash comes at you like this is what you have to do, because it's not going to be like that. It's never going to be like that. It's going to be at a different angle, at a different speed.
Yeah, which is why the answer isn't always no. Like tonight, some of the students would do something a little different on a defense and said, well, is that okay? And I'm like, it worked, right? It presented itself. You were in a different position, and or you just maybe did something wrong, but you made it into something right.
Yeah.
So you can't have those blocks that say, oh no, I was supposed to pin the knife to the hip, and I didn't, you know. Yeah, well, in real life, it's not going to be that way. There's no do-overs.
Well, I noticed that when you teach things here, it keeps evolving. As you find better ways of doing things. I mean, when I first came, there was a certain way that you would do a gun or a pistol disarm, and then that changed to something that was actually easier and involved less steps. And that's great, because
less steps, you have no time to think. Just slap trap.
well, also I believe other disciplines in schools sometimes might be a bit more rigid about what they want you to do.
Yeah, I would say
As
like
you go into more traditional stuff, it seems that way.
yeah, like if you wanted the same sort of feel, like martial arts that have the same feel of what you just described, would be like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like you can put people in different positions, but it's like you're the artist on how to get there. Does that make sense? So, you know, not all. Yeah, there's systems where like this is the move, this is what you have to do, and that's all you can do. You know, and that's how they test you and you advance or whatever. But I don't believe in that.
Well, it doesn't really make sense.
No, like you have your
because
first
the world
moves.
is not ordered that way.
Yeah, and you have your first moves that are, you know, the things you've been programmed to do to enter. But after that, like, we just kind of let you go, and we'll help you. Like, well, is this good? Well, you could do this, and you'll get like 3 more hits in before you would get that one in, and we make it more efficient. But like, I'm not going to tell you like when you parry the blade and trap it, you have to punch, knife hand, elbow, knee, takedown. Like,
No,
Yeah,
no.
sometimes
that might happen, but I wouldn't train that into your brain because that's like the only thing you can do. Because then when you throw the punch and you miss, and you're not trained to like do anything
so now
else.
you're still going to follow through on
Yeah, you're
something
going to
that's
go
already
for
been
something
blown
that's
up
not
on
there
you.
now, so
Yeah.
you have to change it.
Sometimes the acronym KISS is the best way to go. Keep it simple, stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like it breaks down tonight. You know, we're doing some of the different knife defenses with a parry, pinning it to your opponent, and in some cases, I went back to what I always fell to, which is just simply trapping and pinning to your own hip, and then you know, attacking there, and then develop it back out. You know, but always rely on the very basics, right?
Well, I noticed that
Technique, like when you play guitar, you know, things aren't working, something sounds out of tune, or, you know what,
Right,
my
you
hand's a
gotta
little
move
closed
around.
up and I'm muting strings or something. Or
Right, you
just-
gotta move around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that you give and it's good, this is good when you're, especially when you're kind of first starting, you give a specific series of moves with the understanding that this is one way of doing it, this is not the way of doing it, this is one way of doing it, and then we'll practice the heck out of it, and then maybe 2 weeks later, you'll give an alternative on that, or you'll give a variation.
A different perspective on the same one too, maybe with a different instructor. You know.
Right. Yeah, that actually used to confuse me a bit, because when I first started, I was basically going with 3 different instructors, and sometimes what they would say would be at odds with what the other person is. And remember, I was just starting, so there was a lot of things that I really wasn't sure about that I want to make sure I was getting right, so that I didn't waste time practicing something wrong and then reinforcing a bad habit, because I don't have experience with martial arts. And I didn't want to sit there learning how to do a side kick or a palm strike and practice it, you know, because I was practicing at the gym on a heavy bag and stuff, and then find out I was doing it the wrong way.
Right.
But there are certain things that you're just going to do, and then later on you're going to find out the small things that you need to adjust in order to make it work properly.
Well, like Kenzo once said, there are only certain ways that your body moves. So you'll see as you do more and more, and that my eyes open to it every day, that those certain ways of the body moving yield a lot of different things. So a technique may not be the best technique, but your approach to it.
It's the bat phone.
Oh, you'll have to excuse me.
We'll cut it.
This is a good time to
So,
cut right here.
To be continued, possibly with Russ again. In the
Thank you,
future.
Russ.
Sounds good.
Always
Thank you.
enlightening.
Have a good night,
Thank you for
everyone.
coming.
Good night.
Thank you.